It also offers geographical projection for the People's Liberation Army into the South China Sea region, submarines which can follow down this channel into the really deep parts of the South China Sea, which allow for difficulty in detection.
On this hill above a luxury hotel is a surface-to-air missile site guarding two of China's most important naval facilities, Yulin and Longpo.
Tensions are rising in one of the most hotly contested regions on the planet, the South China Sea.
The world's largest aircraft carrier just parked off Venezuela. That's not a flex, it's a plan. You're about to see why a 4000 sailor floating airbase, loaded with Super Hornets, Growlers, and early warning eyes, arrived right after weeks of strikes on drug boats. The problem? Instability and cartels thriving despite 19 hits on at least 20 vessels. The question, what changes when a carrier strike group turns the Caribbean into a sensor shooter web? Stay in. We'll map the deterrence logic, the signaling to Caracas, and the trigger points that could move this from pressure to operations. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. 19 hits, 20 boats targeted, 10 weeks of clips, smoke, and brief cheers. But the route stayed alive. So what flips when a 100,000-ton airbase enters the grid and refuses to leave? The core problem isn't a lack of firepower. It's tempo and reach. You're looking at a regional security failure where drug networks outpace episodic raids, while Caracas tests the edges with posture and rhetoric. The pipelines adapt by the hour. They disperse crews, change frequencies, shift to smaller hulls, or mix with fishing traffic. Every gap in watch turns into a corridor. Strikes look clean on screen, but cartels move like water. They split loads, hand off at sea, and use short windows to push through.
On this hill above a luxury hotel is a surface-to-air missile site guarding two of China's most important naval facilities, Yulin and Longpo.
From militarized artificial islands to fighter jets and warplanes, China's heavy presence in the disputed region is putting the U.S. and its allies on notice.
Meanwhile, Venezuela's leadership signals a turn to asymmetric defense, guerrilla-style tactics, coastal clutter, and irregular formations that try to blunt any single hard hit. That posture complicates a raid-based approach. It thrives on ambiguity and clutter. Here's why raids feel like whack-a-mole. Sorties are finite. Aircraft launch, prosecute, recover. You get a few hours of pressure, then the deck resets and the sea breathes again. Persistence drops, and with it, control. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, ISR, comes in patches. A drone here, a patrol plane there, a cutter's radar sweep skimming the surface. Cartels thread the seams between patrol boxes, ride weather, or shadow shipping to break contact. Now drop in the Ford and the board changes. You don't add a few jets, you stack a system. E-2D Advanced Hawkeye pushes the radar horizon and runs the air picture. F divided by a -18 E divided by F Super Hornets hold combat air patrols and sprint when cued. EA-18G Growlers jam, listen, and shape the fight before a shot. MH-60R and MH-60S Seahawks fan out to chase small craft, dip sonar if needed, and put eyes low where smugglers hide. And the unseen backbone, fuel, spares, ordnance, maintainers, keeps the cycle unbroken. The shift is from snapshots to a live feed. Airborne early warning doesn't just see farther, it directs an orchestra. The Hawkeye calls cues to destroyers on the screen edge, to maritime patrol aircraft running long legs, and to the Hellos sniffing wake patterns. Data links bind it. A contact that once faded between patrol zones now carries a track number, a speed vector, and a handoff plan. Minutes, not hours. That tightens the kill chain at sea. A skiff pops up on a destroyer's surface search radar at the edge of its range. The E-2D pulls it into track. A Super Hornet angles and high to identify. An MH-60 slides low to challenge and board with a Coast Guard detachment. If the skiff darts, a second Hello is already on a leg line to box it. You're not chasing, you're closing gates. Layer in electronic warfare, and the maze gets brighter. Growlers don't need to blow anything up to change behavior. They blind or confuse hostile radars, flood comms with noise, and pry open the enemy's playbook by forcing them to switch modes. That reduces risk to manned flights near the coast and pokes holes in any anti-access plan. An asymmetric defense that counts on surprise loses its timing when its radios lie and its sensors see ghosts. Deterrence math flips here. A carrier strike group adds uncertainty for Venezuelan planners. Every move risks detection. Every radar sweep, every patrol boat sortie, every test flight could draw a response within minutes. Not kinetic by default, but present, loud, and fused. When the adversary can't predict which sensor is watching, they start to assume all of them are.
In recent years, Beijing has begun dramatically expanding the two bases to accommodate a growing fleet of vessels and to provide a home for China's new seaborne nuclear deterrent.
Tensions are rising in one of the most hotly contested regions on the planet, the South China Sea.
It also offers geographical projection for the People's Liberation Army into the South China Sea region, submarines which can follow down this channel into the really deep parts of the South China Sea, which allow for difficulty in detection.
This is where the Caribbean stops acting like a maze and starts acting like a lit stadium. Routes that blended into clutter become patterns. Patterns become schedules. Schedules get shut down. You're not trying to sink every boat. You're turning the water into a space where hiding costs more than waiting, where the low-risk run becomes a bad bet. Meanwhile, the presence doesn't sit still. Bombers flown near the coastline signal reach. Destroyers on the flank set tripwires. Drones ride the gaps. The Ford keeps the deck hot, the Hawkeye keeps the net tight, and the Hellos cut the low tracks into pieces. The message lands without a shot. The network owns the day, and it doesn't sleep. So with the grid built and humming, the next question hits. How does that web neutralize Venezuela's defenses without firing first, and how fast can it freeze a coastal missile belt when the switch flips? The carrier isn't a threat by default. It's leverage. Ford sits there to make conflict a bad deal by owning three spaces at once: the air, the spectrum, and the sea lanes. Round-the-clock launches mean the watch never blinks. The response clock starts at 0. You choose the method. Raids that fade when fuel runs low, or a network that never sleeps. If you want hard detail breakdowns on how carriers shape real fights, subscribe and tell me, would you bet on raids or a round-the-clock battle network? Comment your choice below.